welcome back once again to Android BGMS Season 3, powered by Garnier Men. I'm going to be a host to Castro Necro once again, and John alongside with me on the panel. It's going to be no one else than Scaredy himself. And once again, we're back in the day 3, man. Yesterday's day, it ended off in quite an interesting fashion, right? I mean, especially that bounty being denied by Ninja Boy was also quite cruel, but at the same time, it added that element of surprise.
I mean, the fun fact is that you wanted some spicy things and things to be heated up. He gave that exact same thing, though. And I honestly like the idea as well. He spoiled the game as well for God's Reign by picking off one player, and then he just mollied himself because he knew he can't heal, he can't fight. It was basically 10 free points to GDR. He said, you know what? I'm not letting you climb up the ladder of that leaderboard. I'm just going to make sure that we still sit in the top 4.
Well, I mean, you know what? Let's move on forward and look at team stats of Mogo Esports. You've got Destro, who's, of course, played 7 matches. And in the span of 7 matches, he's only got 6 finishes to himself. In general, even Justin and Delta PG, the same stats on the board. And it's Shogun who's not able to pop up on the occasion with only 3 finishes.
But yesterday, yes, it seemed like they were kind of shut down. But one team that really caught my eye were the sides of God's Reign on the map of Erupting. The reason being, they were literally trying to hunt down all the bounty teams out there. They tried on GE, and then they also took an attempt on Vasista Esports.
It's really not going to be taking that much of the glory away from the team itself, right? Still, the remaining 3 players, they are the champion players. They have won quite a lot of those trophies as well in the past, and we know what they're capable of. And now that Sensei has also brought in a couple of new players to play with, Blaze has always been there. Blaze and Sensei, they go long back. Good friends, of course, off the screen as well. And now Revenant Esports' new lineup, this new change, it sort of did work out maybe in the opening week considering they did qualify. But over here in the league stage, in the survival week itself, things are looking way too dicey. As we move on to the game 1 of the day itself, the players are locked in and loaded, but the plane flight path starts all the way from La Trillera towards El Azhar.
A beautifully centralized plane path. If you want to go to any corner of the map, you'd be able to without any major difficulties. So I think we're going to see almost all the similar drop locations for most of these teams. Mogo going back over towards the same eastern paths where they love to drop. WSB as well, taking an early drop, will probably try and end up somewhere towards El Pozo too. I don't think so it's going to be any major difficulties or any early drop clashes that we are seeing right now happen. I really wanted to see where OG are going to land up, right? Because I remember talking to some of the players and they did mention that they're so eager to take those early fights specifically for the bounties.
I mean, who wouldn't want to take the early fights, right? Vasista Esports right now, they're one of those teams that has got the bounty on top of their heads. And if you'd like to say, if you do take down Vasista Esports, you might just be feeling like gods at that point in time, right? You've also got Revenant Esports taking an exit from the plane.
True.
I mean, Revenant Esports as well, moving down south, somewhere closer to Los Leones and Impala. Then you've also got One Blade drop colliding against their foes. And this one's now going to be interesting, right? This has been happening for time and time in the past, and once again, it repeats itself. As One Blade, unfortunately losing out on one of their own. Anonymous is knocked out for now. But it's not going to be that big of a deal considering the man will be back up on his feet. Double barrel shotgun. It's way too tough to connect all the shots with that gun, and that's why he's missing out on a lot of those shots as well. But Carpediem slowly and steadily hunting down the players of One Blade as they do not even stand a chance against them.
Only just one taken out, that's about it. And as of now, it's going to be KSR7 standing up only for so long. Finally taken down, and it's going to be Carpediem with early 8 points, losing just one member, and that's Kamla Boy. I think so it's going to be hurting them a little bit, though, in the meantime. But at the same time, I want to focus on the fights between Godsend as well as Team Xpark, because Ninja Jod has been taken down. It seems that they've suffered a massive casualty. Because, again, it's Revenant, Global, Entity, Mogo, all of them just playing this one map of Miramar. And then we'll be joined in by the members of 8-Bit, Carnival, Team Z as well as Raven. But in this meantime, you know, in this entire duration, I really want to see how Soul is again going to perform. Because this team, with the way how they showcase their wrath in the opening week, specifically on the last couple of days, moving all the way from down bottom to the 2nd or 3rd place, clearly shows you that the potential is immaculate. And even though Somme's addition is there, people questioned it, but he was basically being asked by multiple teams out there.
I mean, in the past, this man used to play for Enigma Gaming. His name is not heard. But one thing is for sure, the man packs a lot of punch. He's got some nice skill set. And there's a reason why he's currently representing such a massive organization like IQ Seoul.
True.
But yeah, this stalemate once again continues. I'm not even sure what's going on at this point. Team Tamilas and Revenant Esports. Revenant Esports, they seem pretty chill. They're looting up, they're scooting up, they're moving like a pack. They're making sure that the loot flow is not going to be stopped just because of this one single stalemate. While Team Tamilas, they've stopped everything. It's like a trap being set up, and they're just waiting for the players of Revenant Esports to walk into that trap.
True. I don't think so Revenant are actually going to walk into that one because they might have
no.
already seen Team Tamilas might be somewhere around, or at least if not the name of the team, then the players.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Revenant Esports, they've been dropping in Los Leones for a while now.
Yes.
They know their boundaries. They know where the opponent team's going to be dropping as well. So they know exactly how to avoid those teams. Sometimes, maybe if things are miscalculated, yes, there can be a collision. But usually in Los Leones, it's too much of a big of a city, right, for the collision to come through. Global Esports and Vasista Esports, hold on. This can be a really spicy fight, but unfortunately the execution is not there.
It's like both the teams decided for a truce and move backwards. They don't really want to force an issue specifically out in such an open ground.
I mean,
too when the blue is closing in.
I mean, look at the points table, right? Vasista Esports, they've got 65 points. That's such a big lead in the overall standings. And if you move down on the third spot, it's Carpediem with just 36 points. So that's already a major cushion that Vasista Esports is leading with. And imagine if Vasista Esports wins against Global Esports in this power play, and that too, they will be able to claim the bounty points. So that's 18 points more. You might see the power play graphic at the top of your screen, but it's not active anymore. So yeah, it's just 4 points that they got with that fight.
Oh!
And now look at Destro. What a spray down that was! One single spray gets 2 players knocked out. God'sreen in a world of trouble now. Or is it Godlike? Yeah, Godlike in a world of trouble.
It seems that Jonathan has to go massive right now with a shotty in the hand. Gets one, drops down, but such a low HP. He needs to survive. Behind the vehicle as well, it can blow up at any possible moment.
Oh, yeah.
And he will fall, but the support was there from Admino. And the man was able to wipe the floor off of Mogo. Saves his team and all 4 of the members.
Mogo Esports. Luckily enough for them, at least they were able to squeeze some sort of points away before getting taken down, right?
My God, I'm just having a sigh of relief for Godlight because honestly, with the way how they were open by the angle of Destro and he was able to spray down 2, I thought Godlike will retreat, but they did not.
Admino has always been the main day saver for Godlike, man.
Whoa.
And once again, he proves out to be a hero. For a moment, I thought that was God'sreen.
I know, right?
Because from the far fray, I wasn't even able to see their names, and Destro was able to find 2. So yeah, that's quite impressive from Destro, but unfortunately his team is not in the game anymore. WSB constantly peppering down the shots in the front. And yeah, it's way too far away. I don't think so anything can be found on that range. Down on a man. The firepower now looking way too shaky. And for God'sreen, the backup as well is now starting to arrive. The players are now starting to gather up. Somraj and his boys, they're ready to make the pounce up against the players of God'sreen. But the Fallen Man is now back upon his feet. And this pounce, it looks way too risky. Entity Gaming with 2 players up and running up against the players of God'sreen. Even Altu gets shut down. Nicely done by Raiden. And Entity, oh, what a catch that was from Equinox too. Another man taken down for God'sreen. Now it feels like they don't stand a chance against the firepower of Entity. Especially if there's Raiden in the addition. Things are looking way too dicey, but unfortunately for Entity, Raiden gets lost in this duel. But for God'sreen, they're way too vulnerable.
Absolutely. Low HP on the players as well. Equinox finally is going to be spotted as well. But it's going to be the full push down coming in. Troy wants to jump in as in Somraj will be able to shut them down. Perfect play coming in from their side. Entity doing a phenomenal job. And in the meantime, we were also seeing the fight breaking out between Revenant and they were able to take down the members of WSB2 and now Godlike wants a piece of that pie.
They have successfully avoided the bounty as well. And now Slug, still a little bit hungry for those eliminations around him. He wants to go for that finishing blow. He wants to go for the victory in this game. But even Carpediem, they can stand in their way. And you really got to give it to the boys of Carpediem, man. Once again, super consistent. Max Payne and Fierce, the final two remaining players.
I don't think so they'll be able to do a lot from the position that they are holding in right now. And Maxi is just about to fall in a while. He's got a last few first aids remaining in his own hands. And I don't really feel like, without getting any single finish, just the position points are going to help you out a lot. That's the only thing. It basically is like something is better than nothing. But it's absolutely fine. Sometimes it happens. Either way, the circle was taking some nasty hardship this time around. But finally, he's going to be taken down. And guess what? It's Maxi who strikes. And it's Maxi who'll ruin the game for Carpediem even further.
At least before getting taken down, he got one for himself, right?
Wait a second. He got
now,
both.
Look at Global Esports. The players are now starting to move up. And as you mentioned, he got both.
That was crazy.
Interesting, right? One single spray, striking down both. But while all that commotion was going on, Global Esports, they made their push against Team Forever. And Team Forever, slowly and steadily, even they're losing out on the man number. Now it's Luck and Arsalan pushing up close and personal. Arsalan is quite exposed. He gets knocked out. Team Forever with a clear-cut advantage. They've got the man number up against the one single man of Global Esports, and Slug gets strike down as well. Finally, Team Forever, they get a chicken dinner to kick things off with.
Just as I was saying, they had the prime positioning in the circle. They were making sure that they were holding all the angles correctly. They were catching all the teams in rotation, capturing all those flushes as well. And after having those early 4 finishes, those early 8 points, this team had such a perfect cushion that it was just inevitable.
Oh man, Team Forever finally getting this game in their hands. While teams like Revenue Esports, where we had a lot of expectations from them, once again they failed. The same thing can be said for Mogo Esports and even Team X-Park. But let's move on to the stage for a short interview. The upcoming game of Wrangle is going to be on the way. As the plane flight path starts all the way from Sosnovka military base towards Georgiapol, this plane flight path is tilted heavily to the left side of the map. If you want to move in towards the Asna Poliana, Severny, even Milta Power, then it's going to be a tough stretch.
Perfectly mentioned as well. And it seems like the teams who also would love to go over towards Lipovka would also face some struggles, some problems. But the ones who like to drop somewhere around Ferry Pier, they're going to be happy. I know I'm about to mention Team Forever as well if they really want to drop towards that location. 8-bit towards Primorsk, no problems that side either. Team Tamilas as well though. And now here's this thing. Both of these teams drop in the same, around the vicinity of Primorsk, almost in the same location. Wait. What am I seeing? What am I seeing? Why is there a cluster over on top of military base? Now trying to fight against the members of Carnival Gaming, who eventually were trying to catch in when the skirmish was happening between Tamilas and 8-bit.
Team Tamilas, 3 of the players, pushing them close and personal, slowly and steadily. And it's CG in the back lines.
Yes.
CG already lost out on 2 players. What happened over here? Now it's just down to Hector and... Or it's just down to Goblin and his power. And Hector and Neo got eliminated a while ago.
Absolutely.
But for these 2 players, we know they do pack a lot of that punch, right? His power, of course, the Assaulter. Goblin as well, the same thing. And inside of the elimination feed, you also see Reckoning Esports taking a dig against the players of TZ. Too many fights happening in this power play. This Wrangle is erupting in a really bad fashion for some of the teams. Before Carnival Gaming over here, there's still a chance they can defend this compound against TT, but this man disadvantage will be quite a tough stinger. Wherever there's gunshot, yeah, just push over there, fine. No need for any sort of game strat, no need for any sort of rotations. Just make the push against the post. That's all you need to do.
Oh my God!
Great Fury! What was that? Takes down 2 of the players with 1 single magazine of this S12K, and now the shotgun starts to strike once again. Fury single-handedly shuts down 3 players.
Manhandling the entire team. What a nasty play coming in from this guy. But the fight is not over yet because again, for this part, yes, we're done with the battle on this end, but the war is still yet to finish.
Information's given away to the players. Godlike, Punk is the only man who's on this side of the street while the rest 2 players are on the opposite. So I do understand the playing stance for Godlike, but what is the escape option here? What is the escape route? Nothing. For both these teams, they cannot escape away from this fight anymore, so it's also going to be a stalemate outside of the zone in Stage 2.
And it totally depends who's got better healings at this point, because even though, yes, you could argue Godlike were the ones who won the fight against Raven, I don't think so they would have had enough time to actually loot all of those crates that were out there because of how quickly Soul came in and they had to reposition. Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. Admin having absolutely no first aid whatsoever. Jonathan has 4, so that's going to be a bit of a relief, but Punk, he's just going back all the way. He's probably going to try and find a vehicle in which he could get all the players out here. Man has been drifting for such a long distance. That is nasty crazy.
3 players still outside of the zone, constantly taking that damage. And now the opponents, they have stopped. There's a high chance 8-Bit, they might just take a lot of that damage upon themselves. And that's what happens. 8-Bit, they're taking a lot of damage upon themselves.
It's done.
And at this point in time, they were also quite scratched up and bruised up by the play zone as well. And that's going to help the players of Reckoning Esports in this fight. And within a flash, it's 8-Bit hitting the deck.
Did not anticipate Reckoning being there. And a perfect crossfire coming in. It seems like they just walked right in the middle of that trap, and they all were traveling in one vehicle.
Side OP. He patches himself up, and now the man's getting capitalized. He's getting pushed on, and Sayed all by himself. He can't defend himself anymore. The players went for peaks one after one, and yeah, TZ, they just gift their frags away to IQ Soul.
IQ Soul finally still surviving, getting 2 crucial points, but again, it's not going to help them a lot, because it basically makes their total to 28 right now, and Team Z having a bit of a heated discussion as well at the same time, but some things really need to be settled down out there, because on the other side of the spectrum, you've still got the members of OG who are holding the compounds, who are hearing all the commotion that's happening, and I think so Godlike would want to try and breach those compounds, but they're still again outside of the circle. The only good thing is Circle's going to move a bit slow from the side where they were, but they're moving a bit more away. Vasista Esports as well will be trying to take the entry directly from the rice fields, so they are going to be contested by the members of God's Reign.
IQ Soul, Ronnie, and Joker. Right next to each other.
Oh.
And then you've also got God's Reign now taking shots against Vasista Esports. Hold on.
Claimable
this can
bounty.
be a big one. And as you mentioned, it's also a claimable bounty, but Venom's quite exposed. God's Reign, they need to provide that backup fire to that one single man who's there out in the open. And I like what Venom is doing. Nicely done, Vasista Esports. Duck 6 feet under, and God's Reign, they do claim the bounty.
Finally, Vasista's bounty has been claimed. This team was the one which had the bounty for the longest time, and that went in unclaimed by any of the team. But finally, those Goliaths have been taken down. Good positioning coming in from God's Reign, but again, as we mentioned, it should be Orangutan's game, because even Godlike are quite open and now going to be targeted by both God's Reign as well as the OG. And from the long distance, it's going to be Reckoning trying to take a piece of that pie as Godlike find themselves in an awkward place where Admino is the only man remaining, as OG want to try and push forward, but will finally claim that pick.
And even he gets spotted from the back by the one single man of Carpediem.
Kamla boy.
Yeah. Carpediem, man. Even though they're just down to that one single man, still he's refusing to give up. He's in a really good spot, too. He's barely making it inside of the zone, on the edge. In my opinion, that's a decent spot. He's also able to squeeze a couple of elimination points here and there. So Carpediem doing decent for themselves in this game as well. The consistency not lacking. But for God's Reign, it's now a world of trouble, just collapsing on top of them. It's the players of OG constantly firing shots against the players of God's Reign, while God's Reign, they're trying to move a little bit closer to that safe zone.
It's going to be difficult because, again, on their 6, it's going to be Reckoning who will try to take the advantage, and Aru tries to fire a few shots, but the connection is just not there.
God's Reign, it's the panic moments. The man's quite exposed. Venom is still alive somehow. Oh, he runs out of bullets at the right time for God's Reign, and that's why God's Reign has faced no casualty, even though it was such a panic move. And still they're somehow alive with all the players.
Lovely nade.
Yeah. Not in that comfortable shoes just yet, but still God's Reign's doing quite good, while Reckoning Esports on the opposite side of the spectrum, they're not doing too hot. Viper's barely surviving on a sliver of HP, but this nade's being tossed to perfection. A Molotov was tossed outside, so the man could not move outside of the shack anymore, and then a nade came to follow it up.
This should be their game as well, because everyone who are outside of that circle have been taken down. It's only God's Reign remaining now, up against the apes themselves. The first move has been made. AKOP finds a few shots, but does not find the connection already. It's still going to be Orangutan. 4v3 advantage.
God's Reign, they're playing this so disciplined. They're playing this so systematically well. They know exactly what the players of OG are too. And Aru, he's just waiting to deliver that finishing blow, considering they've got the man advantage inside of the fight. It's a 4v3. God's Reign in the open fields, while the players of OG, they've got a bit of that high ground to play with the compound. And some of the players of OG, they're looking for to be a little bit more proactive. They've also got the covers of the vehicle. But the zone, it's equally favoring both the teams.
Oh, lovely.
But this nade from AKOP now just shifts the entire tide in the favor of OG. Another nade to claim that elimination point. And now it's all down to Phantom and Venom.
Quite a far distance out there, but OG, they just need to keep their calm. They need to play it cool, because the circle is almost covering both these teams out here. AKOP has been knocked down by Phantom, so that's important.
Yeah, now it's taken down a 3-on-2. Hold on. Hopes might just be restored once again in the hands of God's Reign. One of the mans trying to close on up against the players of OG. And Venom, this is quite the risky move. The man's pulled out the shotgun, and Venom's able to do a lot of that damage against the foe in the front. Holds out the nade as well. If he's able to find this connection with the nade, this can be massive, and he does so as well. Now it's taken down to a 2v2, but unfortunately, still they have been taken down by the side of OG. The apes themselves, finally, they are the one to claim the chicken dinner.
Beautiful play, beautiful positioning. And it seems like the players of OG and Team Forever, they had the blessing of God.
Today, definitely an off day for some of the known names who were already dominating the tournament. Now it's time for some of the newer names to strike back. Godlike, OG. These two teams are doing so good for today's day. And even Team Forever, they found themselves in the podium finish.
Fury from God's Reign is the one who's actually MVP with 5 finishes and only 42% contribution.
Oh man, I mean Fury, solid stuff. Fury's always been one of those main playmaker for God's Reign, right? But if you move on towards the best companion, it's going to be Jonathan with 2 rescues and 1 assist, and the finisher will be Atanki from OG, the man who delivered the finishing blow against God's Reign. But as I mentioned, you got to give it to God's Reign as well, because they played phenomenally well. They also claimed the bounty against Vasista Esports.
True. And it seems to be the case that God's Reign, again, with those 22 points, were able to quickly have that advantage and are now going to climb up those ranks. But on the other side, even OG, not that far away. Even though they got the chicken dinner, yes, they're at the 2nd place. But with 19 points, that is absolutely good.
Look at Team Tamilas, still there on the board with 14 points. Team Tamilas, unshakable from the first half of the board. Carpediem, even though they were taken down to just that one last man off the rip, they still managed to take away 11 points. Now, isn't that impressive? From which 8 points they claimed in the bounty itself.